to discuss NFTs, crypto, and Web3 news. And speaking of the latest news, let's get into some NFT related news. We got Doodles 2 being teased out at the moment, gonna be on Flow. So if you have a look here, I hate it that all the tabs
I know,
reload.
dude. Right? That happens only on Twitter.
All right, so if we go here, I'd already come down to here and done all of this for you guys.
Guys, Philip was unprepared. Philip is pretending like he had it all figured out before. What he really did is he threw this all together the last second.
Yeah, here we go. Here's the video.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
there he
exact
is.
one, but even that.
I still can't hear anything, by the way.
I also can't hear anything on this one anyway.
Oh.
Sometimes that happens because it's muted. Yeah, hold on. Kate, can you hear?
Nope.
Wearables are tending to be interchained. They're all on chain and it's gasless. The people that use their doodles as social representations of themselves, they can create derivative artwork. Okay, so they chose Flow blockchain, no gas. At the end of the day, we do know for a long time that Doodles has wanted to go mainstream. They've made that very, very, very clear. There was a lot of FUD about this because holding an OG Doodle does not give you early access to Doodles 2. You have to be a Genesis box holder or duplicator holder, which was a very stupid thing to do because I don't know, bro. If you've got a 7 ETH asset, a Doodle OG, that should be your ticket into it. Yes, people were arguing, but if you have the OG, you would have had the opportunity to get you would have been dropped the duplicator and had the opportunity to get the Genesis box. So if you solve that, that's not our problem. But on the other side, I mean, I don't know. This is the first time I've ever seen a big collection just tell their OG holders to go screw themselves. And we have seen a bit of a dip in the floor price as a result of that. But basically, Doodles 2 is going to be your ability to completely change your doodle with different clothing and accessories on chain without any gas immediately. So they call it frictionless conversion. So you can create a wallet by signing into Gmail. You don't need a crypto wallet on Flow, and you'll be able to have these PFPs that you can then dress up. I like the idea in general. I just don't know if Doodles is I like the idea of being able to have a NFT that's just signed up on Gmail that you can make your avatar and change its accessories. I like that as a standalone idea. I just don't really like it through Doodles.
What I know is that a lot of builder people and OGs in the space really fuck with Flow. They really fuck with Flow. And for that reason, I'm not surprised they moved over to Flow. I think I don't mind it as a move. I do think that. So with the Doodles thing, telling their gens to holders to fuck off, they were airdropped that OG box though, right? Which gave them the duplicator.
So if you had a Doodle, then you got a duplicator, right? That came out in May. The Genesis box, I think, was afterwards. Let me just check when the Genesis box came out. Yeah, so the Genesis box was in June, where they had that sort of auction where you could a fair Dutch auction, right? So if you were a Doodle holder, you got the duplicator airdrop to you.
Okay. What about in the box?
You had to claim the box.
But if you were a holder, you would have gotten to claim it for free?
No, you had to pay for the box. The
okay.
duplicator was
It's
what you got
fucked
for
a little
free.
bit. Okay, I would love to know, because I don't think it's fucked, because I think they thought through that decision and there's a reason they didn't. I would like to know what that reason is. So Jordan, if you're watching this, I'm trying to get round 2 pod, bro. Answer my Instagram DM.
So you can see, I mean, sort of understand them saying if you have a duplicator, that will give you early access to Doodles too, because that was given free to anyone who holds a Doodle.
Sure.
But don't really understand them saying the Genesis box, because that's got a 0.24 ETH floor compared to 1 point, and they haven't run, bro. There was a bit of a pump. I mean, what, they used to be
Well, it's because
0.2295.
they know that Doodles 2 isn't there to make them money. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of them, right? So I think they're like, why would we pour money into something that's not going to bring us money in the short term or long term? They're like, Doodles 2 is not meant to make us money. It's there to push mainstream. The only thing that's going to pump is the Doodles main project, probably, if anything. And then we don't know even. Like, we're literally venturing the unknown, by the way, guys. Like, people are saying this is a good idea, it's a bad idea. I'm like, we don't fucking know. Like, what happens if Doodles 2 launches and it's like the biggest flop ever and Doodles crashes back down to 1? Like, that's possible. It also is possible that it's the biggest success of all time, and now Doodles has replaced Bored Ape Yacht Club because so many people know about them now. And then we see a cute project meta, and then Pudgy Penguins flies, Sappy Seals flies. Suddenly we're in the middle of a fucking huge bull market again. Like, literally anything can happen at any 24-hour notice. So for people who are here every day, probably terrible for your mental health, but like, you know, we're doing what needs to be done, because we're not going to be fading generational wealth out here, not in the Web3 show. By the way, guys, Philip has decided that it is time the Earth stops to spin, and he wants to stop talking. He wants his camera to freeze. No, he's back. He's back.
I'm back.
I was like, wait, is he staring at me or something on the screen, or is he frozen? Damn, bro. He's frozen still. Philip's out here. He can't take a dub. Oh, wait, there he is. Bro, what are you saying? Are you talking?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out why are you there? Why some are selling for 3 or 4 ETH when the floor is 0.1?
Oh.
Okay,
don't know.
The rarity. It's got a rarity. It's got a rarity. That's why.
You gonna pick up one of these things?
No, but I'm not. I don't subscribe to this whole like way that they don't communicate. For me, the collection size always of Doodles 2 always turned me off. I'm really not here to hold something for 25 years before I see if it works. I want to buy something that has, you know, ups and downs, that I can trade a bit in and out and whatever. And that's not Doodles, unfortunately. And they're too inconsistent for me in their communication, so that they in no way care about the floor price, which is fine. But I mean, if you are someone who's interested in trading and interested in the floor price, it's just not it's a collection that doesn't talk to you. And as you said, Doodles 2 is supposed to be mass adoption. They want to do hundreds of thousands of them. We all saw what that did to the floor price with CryptoKitties. So yeah, holding.
I mean, it's one of those things that, like, the Doodles brand will likely continue to keep building because they've made so much money. It's disgusting. Like, they have an basically unlimited amount of funding. They can keep going. So it's like one of those things that they have the ability to not push for money stuff, which in my opinion, like, I feel like this is something that Gary Vee would be stoked about. Like, I feel like Gary Vee likes this approach that they're taking, or at least is interested in it and how it's going to do, because he also is doing things that aren't actively directly impacting the floor price, but it's actively building the brand of VFriends. When he does VCon, that is a fucking expensive venture, probably losing money on that even, but it's important for the brand, which macro should build a brand which should bring value. That might not be money, it might be opportunities. It might be something where, like, one day it's big enough to where he's gotten so many sponsors and rewards and everyone wants to work with him that, like, every single VFriends holder gets free access to this, you know, fucking amusement park that he's making, or whatever the fuck it is. It's one of those things that you can only do that if your brand's that strong and you've put off money because you don't need it. But that means the traders aren't as interested. So this little niche crowd of Web3 degens may not be interested. So for now, they might have to be in slumber mode. Also, I just noticed that your shirt never sent the second one. So I'm just going to resend the second one. I'm going to confirm with you before I send it that the address is right. But I have this thing pulled up, so I'll just resend it after the show.
Okay, and send me that first one's DHL number again. Let me try track it my side.
Okay.
Because this Puma one, they sent me an email and I went to track it and I had to get a new tracking number. It was at a post office 2 hours away from me. So I don't know. I had to contact them and ask them to send it to the post. So let me track it and see.
Weird.
I live in South Africa. Unfortunately, the post system is like a bit of a joke sometimes. But yeah, we'll talk after the show about that. I appreciate it, Kate. Thank you, my bro. But also part of I agree completely with, I really like your comparison between VFriends and Doodles. I've never looked at it that way, and I think that you are 100% right. 100% right. So Gary Vee is exactly doing that. He's building a brand with mass appeal, which is great for the NFT collection. But if you think of VFriend Series 2, that's 100,000 NFTs there. Bro.
Yeah, that one's tough.
That's a huge amount. And yet that didn't bother me about still being so bullish on Gary Vee. So why am I so bearish on Doodles when they're doing the same thing? And arguably, they've got, not the Web3 experience of Gary Vee, but they've got Pharrell Williams. They've got, as their brand ambassador, they've got their CEO is Billboard, isn't he?
I think so.
Doodle CEO used to run Billboard. So a lot of music connection, a lot of Web2 experience. So it's it's a very interesting point that you make, and it's definitely
if you still need money to think about. Because for example, if VFriends went to zero, like he's like, I bet, like Gary Vee would literally put out a tweet and say bet, like he would be pumped because he would just know that on a long enough time scale he's still gonna win, which is like why there's like certain people and brands that I'm just down to just ride with. Because I'm like, bro, they're going to keep going.
I agree with you, but I think it's because my mindset at the moment is not to be buying things that I'm going to have my money tied into for the next 5 years.
Correct.
I used to feel like that, and I used to buy things that I was happy to have my money because I did think over that time it would be up only, even if it was slow up only.
Yep.
Right, but now we've realized that there's ups and downs. But even on the 10 ETH challenge day with Andreas, when you weren't here, I said VFriends as one of my long-term plays. So I'm not looking to acquire things at the moment long-term in the NFT space at all. Not interested. Yeah. So that's probably why I'm also not thinking of it that way. Another thing to do with Doodles, actually, they acquired Golden Wolf. Did you see that?
I did.
So Golden Wolf's a full animation studio. So now they've got the animation down, and I thought the animation was always pretty good. And now they've definitely got the music down with the Billboard CEO Pharrell Williams. So now they've got this studio, right? And this studio has worked on like Rick and Morty and like a lot of the really, really good stuff out there.
This is huge. This is really cool for me to see this.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Dude, honestly, if you scroll up just so we can see the animation, for people who are watching, there's gonna be a time where we go back. You're not gonna remember this because everyone forgets within 24 hours. But when eventually NFTs trend all the way back down at some point and it's dead and boring again, that's when people will be looking to get into projects that are fun, that are doing stuff to the point where you're like, man, they are crushing it. I want to be a part of that again. Like for a long time, I didn't care to be in Doodles. But the amount of work they put in, the partnerships they've had, the stuff they're coming out with, the animations I've seen, it makes me feel a little bit of FOMO because you're like, look, there's like 15 projects that are worth buying at any given point. And of those 15, probably 5 of them have done something in the recent 6 months that make you think of them. And when when whales especially are choosing to pick into projects, they're not looking at every single one. They're looking at Pudgy. They're looking at Doodles, looking at Bored Apes. There's only a few handful of projects that are like doing anything remotely interesting to where you're like, man, I'm trying to be part of that club. They're on a road that I'm not on, or they're on a train that I'm not on yet. I need to get on. And like, that's where these kind of partnerships matter. Even though this isn't bringing money straight into these holders' wallets, they're like, God damn, they just signed with this. Look what they put out. Like, look at this commercial. Digital Icon is doing a Super Bowl commercial. Like, that's wild shit. And like that eventually will work its way back. I just don't know if it's going to be in the form of like money in your pocket, which is why I threw that out my head out the window a long time ago. I just said that's not going to be the thing I think about, even though it'll deter me as a trader, I think.
Yeah, so exactly that. I mean, short term not interested, long term starting to be interested. So it does confirm here. Doodles CEO is Billboard's former president Julian Hogan. And then Pharrell Williams, we know, is their chief brand officer. They raised about 4 months ago, and we did bring this to you. They raised $54 million with Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian, and that put them at that stage at a valuation of $700 million. And that was still in the bear market, by the way, whereas most other people's valuations were in the bull market. So, yeah, I mean, they're worth at least $500 million, which is quite impressive. Jeez. So, yeah, I mean, definitely interesting, and you can see the strategic moves that they're making. Let's just call a spade a spade. The music side is now tech. Now they've got this this company that can do animation for them, an animation studio. So that's tech. So you can see them rolling out like a kid's cartoon very easily with great music. You can see them rolling out music videos with big artists because of the Billboard connections. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of future here. That you can see that they've got a plan. And yeah, I don't like how silent they are on Twitter. But again, they're not trying to pump the floor, so they may be intentionally not wanting to misuse it. Very interesting. It's being run more like a company than a Degen NFT project, which is
they just don't give a fuck, dude. They don't. That's why I think that's why they're not as active on Twitter. I think if you're super active on Twitter, you have to constantly put out fires. And I think because they're not, they can just say, fuck it. We're doing this, and we know it's going to piss off a ton of our holders. And everyone's going to be mad for 24 hours, 48 hours, and then no one will care. Like, I mean, how many times has Frank said something? Everyone of Twitter blew the fuck up for 48 hours. He's on Spaces, and then nobody cares again. And then he does it again 4 weeks later. Like, nobody cares.
I don't agree. Like, if you're in the Web3 space, which Doodles started as a Web3 project and is now going the Web2 sort of route, right? If you started in the Web3 space, you understand Web3, things like Twitter are incredibly important, and how hard is it to have someone tweeting and retweeting and whatever it may be, just to keep your Web3 initial holders happy. I mean, I don't really understand their thinking with that complete silence. And then you got Poopy on his personal one, tweeting out official Doodles stuff all day because Doodles not, and I mean, it's ridiculous. They're a Web3 company, Doodles. They didn't exist before NFTs. They've got a Twitter. Use your Twitter. Why you have to go to all their founders' Twitters to try to figure out?
Like, I think they're trying to just build, and I think they're just trying not to listen to like the noise, because I think they have a vision.
Don't listen,
and they're just trying to make it happen.
Just communicate, bro.
They should. No, I'm saying they should. I'm saying they should, but I'm saying this is why they're not. Like, I don't know if they should or shouldn't. I'm just saying, like, the reason I think that they're not is because they're making a bunch of big decisions that are very long-term focused, and they're going to piss off.
Take some of the $700 million valuation, and take a very small amount and hire a social media manager.
No, but I'm saying they don't want to, is what I'm saying. Like, that's why they're not, because they aren't interested. Because they're like, we don't need this to grow. They're like, we don't need to be communicating every
decision. Doesn't matter whether you need it or not. Your holders would appreciate it. And
I'm saying, like, they don't care. Like, I know, I agree with you, by the way. I think you should, and I think they should. I think they should do it. I'm telling you why I think they're not. Like, I'm not defending. I'm just saying they're not because this. Because they don't care to respond every single time. That's why they don't tweet everything. That's the reason. Because I can't think of another reason. Like, why else would you not utilize an account with 300,000 followers when you know it's going to bring, price action back and forth? And the reason is because they're all a bunch of OG Dapper Labs guys. They don't want to care, so they're choosing not to care. That's the reason I think that they're not doing it.
I understand. I still don't understand why
Phil's trying so hard not to say, but they should. I know they should. Right. I agree, dude. I'm gonna roast if I ever get Jordan back on the podcast. That's my first question, or not my first question. It'll be somewhere in there and be like, "Yo, what's the deal? Tell me why." Because I think I know.
They are native Web3. I understand Porsche to some degree is native Web2. Okay, they never tweet. If you and Doodles used to be active on Twitter. It's almost like the Twitter person resigned and they've just never gotten around to replacing that person. It's stupid. Anyway, such a small thing. It's such in the end of the day, they are making, I'm saying, compared to everything they are doing, the fact that their Twitter is not active is, in the bigger picture, is not the hugest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But it's still freaking.
They should be more active though. Like, complete silence is not good. That I don't like that at all, and I don't think that's good. Like a good business strategy. But like, not tweeting out as much as some of these other projects, I don't think is bad. But not going at all for a months on end, that's a little strange. Yeah, but other than that, 100%. Like silence and with a little bit of tweets here and there, I don't really mind that. But you're right. It's 100% gonna affect the floor, which makes the holders unhappy. But if Doodles again just wants to build and they don't care, they're gonna keep doing it because they got the money.
I think you keep your holders happy to some degree. Anyway, RT